One of the skills you should have learned in your intermediate algebra class is the ability to go between exponential form and radical form. So what am I saying? Here's the gist of it. If I say square root of x, how can you write square root of x? Hopefully you know that square root of x is the same thing as x to the 1/2. That would be exponential form. So square root of x is the radical form, x to the 1/2 is exponential form. But what we're going to start off with is the exponential properties, a few of the radical properties, and then we're going to look at how can you combine them. And here's the reason why. If I told you what's the square root of x times the cube root of x, how would you do that? Well, in radical form, you can't really handle that problem. But if you change it over to exponential form and use the exponential properties that we have, that now becomes a doable problem. So many times this semester, we're going to start a problem in radical form, like the square root of x. We're immediately going to want to put it into the exponential form, which would be x to the 1/2, and work with the problem in exponential form. Then once you're done, you go back to radical form. So you need to know your exponential properties. You need to be comfortable going between exponentials and radicals. Anytime you see a radical, virtually any time, this is going to be your technique, switching forms. So let's make sure you're comfortable with those exponential properties. Let's make sure you're comfortable with radicals. So first of all, what is x to the n? If I said something like x cubed, what does that really mean? Well, that just means x times x times x. So all exponential notation is a repeated multiplication. Whatever the power is the number of times that it's been multiplied. One thing that's really important for you to know, any number raised to the 0 power is 1. Any number raised to the 0 power is 1. Another thing that I want you to remember is negative exponents. Anytime you have something raised to a negative power, flip it, throw it on, well, if it's on top, x to the negative n, for instance, would be the same thing as 1 over x to the n. We'll do some examples of this that might help clarify this a little bit. There's a typical error that a lot of people make on this one right here. So one way to solve a radical equation, for instance, if the square root of x equals a, would be to square both sides. So if it's the cube root, you'd cube both sides. If it's the fourth root, you'd raise both sides to the 4th power. So that's what the next one says right there. If it's the nth root of x equals a, you could solve that equation by raising both sides to that nth power. This next one's really important for you, converting those radicals to that exponential form. If you have the square root of x, that's x to the 1/2. The cube root of x would be x to the 1/3, and so on. What's the next one? The next one helps us when we get to a little more difficult radical expressions. The nth root of x to the m, anytime you have a square root and a power, the power is the numerator of the fraction, the radical is the denominator of the fraction. So again, the power is the numerator, the radical is the denominator. And it goes both directions. They try to show that right there. It doesn't matter which one you do first. You could either do the radical first and then the exponent, or you could do the exponent first and then the radical. The order shouldn't matter. The only time it does matter is when you're dealing with things like square roots of negative numbers. Those don't exist, but if you square it first, a negative squared would be positive, and then you could find the square root. So the only time it matters is when you're messing with negative numbers under even radicals. But don't worry about that right now. Just remember whatever the exponent is the numerator. Whatever the radical is the denominator. And then a little thing right here just says, look, the square root of x, yes, it's really 2 square root x, okay? So the power there is really a 2 or a 1/2, but we do not write that. That's our typical radical. So you just put a square root. If you just see a square root, it is the 2 is the power. So let's look here at example 4. It says y equals negative 2x squared at x equals 4, and it's asking us to evaluate the following expressions. What does evaluate an expression mean? Evaluate an expression simply means plug in the number. So anywhere we see the number or the letter x, so for instance here we'd have y equals negative 2. Instead of x, I'm always going to put it in parentheses. Anytime I plug a number in, I'm going to plug it in parentheses. I'll have the number 4 there. If you're not comfortable, I allow you to use a calculator in this class. So please just plug this into your calculator, do -2 parentheses 4 squared. It's really important to use the parentheses, especially if we're plugging in a negative number. Anytime you substitute in a value, go ahead and use those parentheses. That's all the work that I need to be shown here. So again, use your calculator, but 4 squared is 16. 16 times -2 is -32. That would be our final answer. So we put that in the final answer blank. Please make sure all of your final answers are in the answer blank in your notes. Okay, so what's the next one about? Well, first of all, we could directly plug this in. If we directly plug this in, we'd have y equals 3 times, we'd plug in that x, and we'd have to the -3 power, and we could just plug in the -1, and we could use our calculator to get the answer on this one. But I want you to understand this problem a little better than that. So what I really wanted you to get at here was, how do you handle a negative exponent? This is really, really important for you to understand. So let me rewrite it right here. So y equals 3x to the -3. What I want you to do is go up to the properties and remember, anytime you have a negative exponent, no final answers in this class can have a negative exponent. So anytime you have a negative exponent, you want to flip it. If it's on the top with a negative exponent, you throw it into the bottom. And if it's on the bottom with a negative exponent, you throw it into the top. But the difficult part is what actually goes to the top or to the bottom. So for instance, on this problem, if we were in class, I would ask you guys to do this and check with your neighbor. If you checked with your neighbor, here's what I would see on a lot of students' papers. I would see 1 over 3x cubed. However, in this case, that is not the correct answer. This is not the correct answer. Why? Because the 3 does not belong in the bottom. Here you have to realize what is actually raised to the negative power. And if you really want to space this out, what you could do is think of this as 3 times x to the -3. Only the x is raised to the negative power, and you only bring down what is raised to the negative power. So when I do this, this would be 3 over x cubed. I only bring the x to the denominator, okay? This is way different. I'm gonna kind of redo the problem here. What if I had something like this? 3x raised to the -3. Notice the 3 is now in the parentheses. If the 3 is in the parentheses, it's also raised to the negative power. That is when I would bring it down to the denominator, okay? So only bring things that are actually raised to the negative power down into the denominator. Do not just bring coefficients down to the bottom, okay? So we're not done with this problem. I did box it. Technically, that's not the final answer, though, because I didn't ask you to simplify it. I asked you to evaluate it. So I still need to actually plug in the number. So I have 3 over -1 cubed. -1 cubed is -1. 3 divided by -1 is -3. Again, you could put that into your calculator if you're not comfortable. So the final answer on this problem would actually be -3. But be very careful with negative exponents. Only bring down the part that's actually raised to the negative. Let's go to the next 2 examples here. Notice the negative is inside the parentheses here, very important. So if I plug this in, just straight up use your calculator if you want. This would be -1/2 squared. Again, I'm plugging in the 1/2 wherever there's that x value right there. -1/2 squared, because it is inside the parentheses, is a positive 1/4. You do have to be very careful with that. If the negative was outside the parentheses, that would not be the answer. So the answer here is 1/4. Let's go on to D. Let's evaluate this. Again, this would be y equals, this would be 4 over x squared. I'm only bringing down the x because only the x is raised to the negative power. And anytime you have a negative power, you do need to flip it. So now I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. That would be 4 over, the x value here was 3. 4 over 3 squared, which would give me what? I'm getting 4/9. That is a simplified fraction. Make sure all your answers are simplified fractions. Final answer, 4/9. Okay. Let's move on. Let's make sure we know how to evaluate expressions. So this is y equals 4x to the 1/3. This would be an exponential form of the problem. So if you remember, x to the 1/3 is the same thing as the cube root of x. In other words, what number cubed equals that? So what we're really looking at here is y equals 4 times the cube root of 8. So the question would be, what number cubed equals 8? What number cubed equals 8 would be 2, because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So this is really 4 times 2, which is 8. So the final answer here would be 8. Okay? So, how could have you done this, though? Quite honestly, if this were on the test, I would have just directly plugged this in. Plugging in 8. And I would have done 4 times 8 to the 1/3 power on your calculator. Again, how would you do 1/3 power? You'd need to do what's called the caret button, or a little chevron symbol on your calculator. That button is what gets you into the exponent. So I'd do 4 parentheses 8, close the parentheses, do that chevron button. I'd be in the numerator, and then I'd do 1 divided by 3, or 1, hit the n over d button for the fraction 1/3. So what's the advantage of putting this in the calculator, or exponential form, I should say, is anytime you want to put a radical into the calculator, such as the cube root of x, you want to put it in exponential form, because your calculator doesn't necessarily, depending on which calculator you have. Now, the calculator I suggested does have different radicals, so you could do the cube root of x in your calculator, but for the majority of calculators, they don't have that function, so you'd actually have to put it into your calculator as x to the 1/3. Okay, let's move on. Here it says y equals the cube root of x squared at x equals 8. So this would be y equals, sorry, let me change my color. Y equals the cube root of 8 squared. So we have two different things that we're doing here. We're square rooting and we're cubing, and in quite honesty, it doesn't matter which one of those two things you do first. So this would be, what's the cube root of 64? If I squared it first, I could have cube rooted it first, or I could have squared it first. I decided to square it first. What's the cube root of 64? So what number cubed equals 64? The answer would be 4. Again, though, that's if you know radicals. If I were to put this into my calculator, I'd have y equals the cube root of x squared. The way that I'd think about that is, how do I convert that to exponential notation? Well, remember, whatever the power is the numerator, and whatever the radical is the denominator. So this would be the exact same thing as x to the 2/3. So if I were to plug it in there and put it into my calculator, how I would have plugged it in is 8 to the 2/3. And again, if I put 8 to the 2/3 into my calculator, I'm also going to get the number 4. So it depends if I'm trying to think of it in radical form, or if I'm trying to think of it in exponential form. One of the things you're going to learn this semester, without a doubt, is that exponential form is usually much, much easier. Not only is it easier to plug into our calculator, but it's also easier for us to work with algebraically. So just get comfortable handling radicals in both of those forms.